Okay, ji. So the first MCQ that is displayed on the screen is HDL is synthesized in secreted form. And which organ is actually responsible for the synthesis of HDL? That is high density lipid. Actually, it is stated that HDL is actually being synthesized in the liver and then secreted from the liver into the blood. And it is the major lipoprotein that is responsible for the transfer of it is responsible for the transfer of capture of LDL and then transported to the liver. So the correct option for MCQ number 1 is liver C. Okay, ji. So the next MCQ that is displayed on the screen is enzyme catalyzing electron transport are present mainly in the enzyme which are responsible for electron transport chain is कहाँ पे वो मौजूद होते हैं तो आपके पास actually ETC is a series of electron transport chain is a series of protein complexes and other molecules that transfer electron from electron donor to electron acceptor via redox reaction. So it is a linear process and it actually occur in a mitochondrial membrane. So the enzyme that are responsible for catalyzing electron transport chain should be possibly present in our mitochondrial membrane. So the correct option for MCQ number 2 is D, inner mitochondrial membrane. Fatty acid can be transported into and out of the membrane by Hanji. So the fatty acid long chain and short chain fatty acid are present in cytoplasm. So from cytoplasm, the fatty acid acid can be transported in and out of the cell membrane. When we talk about transfer of fatty acid, so the transfer of fatty acid actually occur through any membrane or cell membrane could possibly occur due to the presence of particular protein. And the transport that is mediated by a carrier protein is known as facilitated transport. And when we talk about active transport is a kind of transport in which energy is being utilized for the transport in the form of ATP. Diffusion is actually the transfer of molecule from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration, and osmosis is the movement of molecule of water actually from an area of higher concentration towards lower concentration. So the correct option is B for MCQ number 3, facilitated transport. Our triose sugar is so the next MCQ is our triose sugar is triose. We have classified carbohydrate or monosaccharide depending upon their number of carbon atoms that are present in it. So the MCQ said that which of the following is a triose? A monosaccharide having 3 carbon atoms. So a monosaccharide having 3 carbon atoms is a triose, and in triose we have got an example of glycerol or glyceraldehyde, that is trioaldolase. एंड अगर कीटोसिस की बात की जाए तो DHAP की गुड एग्जांपल उसके अंदर आती है, ठीक है। और राइबोज की जब बात की जाए तो राइबोज इज अ पेंटोज शुगर, और एरिथ्रोज की बात की जाए तो एरिथ्रोज इज अ टेट्रोज शुगर, एंड फ्रुक्टोज की बात की जाए तो फ्रुक्टोज इज एक्चुअली fructose is and also included in hexoketose, ठीक है जी। So the correct option for MCQ number 4 is A, glycerol. Which of the following are sulfur containing amino acids? So हम लोगों ने क्या किया है, depending upon the number of functional group present in an amino acid, we have classified amino acids. कहता है इनमें से कौन सा ऐसा है which of the following are sulfur containing amino acid proteins except, इनमें से सारे के सारे जो हैं वो sulfur containing amino acid है सिर्फ एक के अलावा. So cysteine and cysteine and methionine, all of them have sulfur in their structure, while threonine is not sulfur containing amino acid, but it is a hydroxyl group containing amino acids. So the correct option for MCQ number 5 is D, threonine. In mammals, the major fat is the adipose tissue is. So When we talk about adipose tissue or tag, tag is the one of the most important and abundant class of fats or fatty acid lipid की बात की जाए अगर तो tags are most abundant or tag is a major storage form as a transport form and fat is stored in adipose tissue, so the storage form is that is tag triglycerol is possibly stored in adipose tissue. That is option D for MCQ number 6. ओके जी, अगला MCQ आता है कि आइसोमर्स differing as a result of variation in configuration of OH and H on carbon atom 2, 3, 4 of glucose are known as. हाँ जी, अच्छा अगर हम लोग बात करें सीरियो आइसोमर्स की, तो सीरियो आइसोमर्स these monosaccharide isomers have same chemical formula but different position of hydroxyl group on one or more carbon atom. And when we talk about epimer is a type of stereoisomer in which differ in the position of H and OH around a particular carbon atom particular carbon atom. So when we talk about D-glucose and D-galactose, both of them are epimers of each other. So the variation in the configuration of OH and H on carbon atom, either 2, 3 or 4 of glucose, are known as epimers. इनमें से किसी भी कार्बन के ऊपर H और OH के ऊपर ग्रुप के ऊपर अगर वेरिएशन एग्जिस्ट करती है, they would be known as epimer of each other. So the correct option for MCQ number 7 is A, epimers. An aromatic amino acid is. And we have classified, as we discussed earlier, that we have classified amino acid depending upon the type of functional group that are present in it, and we have divided aromatic amino acid depending upon the type of functional group present in it. So we have different. There is a class of amino acid that have benzene ring in it, or aromatic side chain containing the aromatic side chain that includes phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. So the correct option for MCQ number 8 is D, tyrosine. A carbon atom which becomes asymmetric when the straight chain form of monosaccharide changes into ring form is known as. So अब यहाँ पे हम लोगों के पास we should know that what are anomers. Anomers are actually it is a type of epimers that exist due to the presence of H and OH group in carbonyl जो carbon atom होती है, that carbonyl carbon atom is the atom that is present in the ring structure of a carbohydrate. Or when we talk about carbohydrate, the carbonyl carbon atom could be possibly aldehyde or ketone. So the correct option for MCQ number 9 is A, anomeric carbon atom. Anomeric carbon atom is a carbon atom in a ring structure of D-glucopyranose or alpha D-glucopyranose or beta D-glucopyranose are both anomers of each other because they differ only in the configuration or arrangement of H and OH group along one carbon atom, that is anomeric carbon atom. So the correct option for MCQ number 9 is A, anomeric carbon atom. And anomeric carbon atom is actually an example of anomeric carbon atom is the carbon atom that is present in beta D-glucopyranose and alpha D-glucopyranose. Epimeric carbon atom. So epimeric carbon atom is the carbon atom that is present in an epimer, and epimer actually is a kind of stereoisomers that differ in the due to the position of H and OH group present in a carbohydrate. And isomers of isomeric carbon atom is the carbon atom that is responsible for existence of different isomers. So the correct option for MCQ number 9 is A, anomeric carbon atom. An essential amino acid. So essential amino acids are the amino acids that are not synthesized inside human body. That's why they should particularly be synthesized using they should be they could be possibly particularly synthesized by using जो आपका they an essential amino acid are the amino acid that cannot be synthesized in the human body. That's why we should have to take these amino acid in diet. So the correct option for essential amino acid are methionine. There are number of amino acids that are included in essential amino acid that include methionine, arginine, threonine, tryptophan, valine, isoleucine, leucine, phenylalanine, histidine, lysine. So the correct option for MCQ number 10 is C, methionine. Lactate formed in the muscle can be utilized through. So, first of all, what is Rappaport Lubring cycle? In biochemistry, Lubring-Rappaport pathway is a metabolic pathway in mature erythrocyte that is involved in the formation of include the formation of 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate, which regulate oxygen release from hemoglobin and deliver it to tissue 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate. That is Rappaport-Lubring cycle. Glucose-alanine cycle is also known as Cahill cycles, and the Cahill cycle are also known as the alanine cycle or glucose-alanine cycle. Is a series of reactions in which amino groups and carbon atom amino groups and carbons from muscle is transported to liver. And Cori cycle, when we talk about Cori cycle is actually the conversion of transport of conversion of lactate that is present in muscle, transport of that lactate into the muscle into the liver, and then it is being converted into glucose, and then from glucose it is being converted into आपका जो lactate glucose पर again convert हो जाता है lactate के अंदर. So this is known as the Cori cycle. And citric acid cycle is a cycle that is responsible for in human body. It is responsible for conversion of an acetyl CoA to oxaloacetate, and it is a cyclic process, and it involves the formation of a lot of amino acids. So the correct option for MCQ number 11 is C, Cori cycle. Which of the following is a tripeptide? Anji. Tripeptide is the peptide that consists of only 3 amino acids. So when we talk about adenosine, ancidine is a dipeptide. It consists of 2 amino acids that are alanine and 3-methyl histidine. And when we talk about oxyrocin, oxyrocin is an amino acid that consists of almost 9 amino acids. And when we talk about glutathione is an amino acid that is an antioxidant present in plant, animal, and fungi. It is capable of preventing damages to important cellular component caused by reactive oxygen species. And it is a tripeptide that consists of glutamates and cysteine side chains. And calidine, when we talk about calidine, it is the amino acids that are actually present in glutathione, glutamic acid, cysteine, and glycine. So it is glutathione consists of 3 amino acids. That is why it is known as a tripeptide. And when you talk about calidine is a polypeptide consists of many amino acids. So the correct option for MCQ number 12 is C, glutathione. Fructose 2,6-bisphosphate. And fructose 2,6-bisphosphate is formed by the action of. अब fructose 2,6-phosphate bisphosphate कहाँ होती है? ये animal tissues के अंदर होती है और higher plants और fungi के अंदर होती है. अच्छा, इसका फंक्शन क्या है? ये स्टिमुलेट करती है फॉस्फोफ्रुक्टोकाइनेज को और इनहिबिट करती है फ्रुक्टोज 1,6-बिस्फोस्फेट को. That is the enzyme that involves in glycolysis. It also stimulates plant inorganic fructose 6-phosphate phosphofructokinase. So the fructose 2,6-bisphosphate is formed by the action of an enzyme that is phosphofructokinase 2. So the correct option for MCQ number 13 is B, phosphofructokinase 2. Actually, the molecular formula of cholesterol is C27H45OH. That is option A for MCQ number 14. The highest concentration of fructose are found in. अच्छा जी, तो वो कहते हैं कि जो सबसे ज्यादा जो कंसंट्रेशन है फ्रुक्टोज की वो कहाँ पाई जाती है, तो कहते हैं सेमिनल प्लाज्मा या सेमिनल फ्लूइड as an excessive concentration of fructose which provides an anaerobic and aerobic source of energy for the sperm and has obliquely associated with the aggressive sperm motility and viscosity. So the correct option for MCQ number 15 is D, seminal fluid. Dietary fats absorption appear in circulation in. So the lipoprotein that is being absorbed from the intestine and then then it is transported to blood is chylomicron, and it is the lipoprotein that has a lesser that has जो आपका chylomicron is the lipoprotein that is आपको पता है कि ये जो है हाईएस्ट डेंसिटी होती है इसकी, और अगर हाईएस्ट लोवेस्ट डेंसिटी होती है बिकॉज इट हैज मोर लिपिड कंटेंट वाइल लेस जो है ना प्रोटीन कंटेंट होता है इसके अंदर, ठीक है। So जी, chylomicron की lowest density होती है because it has highest concentration of fats or tag or lesser concentration of protein. So MCQ number, so correct option for MCQ number 16 is chylomicron. Is chylomicron or glycogenin. And the glycogenin is जी बात करते हैं कि glycogenin is actually a primer that is used for the synthesis of glycogen, ठीक है। ग्लाइकोजन सिंथेसिस बिगिनिंग के स्टार्ट के लिए हम लोगों के पास सबसे पहले जो प्राइमर आता है वो ग्लाइकोजेनिन होती है, एंड देन simulate the synthesis of a process of glycogen synthesis. So glycogen is a protein primer for glycogen synthesis. That is option C for MCQ number 70. Casein, the milk protein is. हाँ जी, जो casein आपके पास milk protein है वो क्या है? Nucleoprotein है। Nucleoprotein क्या होते हैं? These are the stones and proteins plus nucleic acid, ठीक है। आपके प्रोटीन है उसके साथ कोई न्यूक्लिक एसिड DNA और RNA हो सकता है। Chromoprotein is the protein that is that has the protein plus pigment, for example hemoglobin और rhodopsin है। और फॉस्फोप्रोटीन से अगर बात की जाए तो फॉस्फोप्रोटीन के अंदर हम लोगों के पास आ जाते हैं कि दे हैव प्रोटीन प्लस फॉस्फोरिक एसिड। So the casein in milk is the protein along with phosphoric acid, casein along with phosphoric acid. So the correct option for MCQ number 18 is C, phosphoprotein. हाँ जी, the reaction of succinyl CoA to succinate require. The succinyl CoA to succinic acid is actually, succinate is actually a reaction that is one of the step in PCA cycle, and it involves the conversion of succinyl CoA to succinic acid, involves succinyl CoA thiokinase and the enzyme thiokinase, and the molecule that are being utilized is GDP, okay, and GDP is then being converted into GTP. The GTP that is formed here is then is later on converted into ATP. So the correct option for MCQ number 19 is C, GDP. The carrier of citric acid cycle is oxaloacetate, because oxaloacetate is the molecule that actually starts the cyclic process that is known as TCA, and TCA actually stops at the same intermediate product that is known as oxaloacetate. So this is the requirement, and this is the most important product, intermediate product that is that carries the whole process known as TCA and citric acid cycle. So the correct option for MCQ 20 is D, oxaloacetate. The enzymes of beta oxidation are found in. What is beta oxidation? Beta oxidation is actually the lipolysis process. It is the breakdown of fatty acid and the breakdown, the enzyme that is responsible for the breakdown of fatty acid is actually present in mitochondria, and are present in mitochondria. So the complete process, जो है आपके enzyme dehydrogenase, palmitoyl dehydrogenase, enol hydratase, and dehydrogenase, HMG dehydrogenase enzyme, they are actually present in or found in mitochondria, inside the mitochondria. The enzyme of beta oxidation are actually found in a mitochondria. The conversion of alanine to glucose is termed as, Anji. First of all, glycolysis is the breakdown of glucose, ठीक है, up to pyruvate or lactate, or oxidative decarboxylation is the removal of carbon dioxide, ठीक है, और specific dynamic reaction भी नहीं होती है आपके पास alanine to glucose. So the conversion of non-carbohydrate product to glucose, whether it is a amino acid or whether it is a fatty acid, यहाँ पे whether it is a ketone body, is known as gluconeogenesis. So the correct option for MCQ 22 is the gluconeogenesis. Denaturation of protein results in. Okay. So when we talk about the structures of protein, we have got 4 different types of, depending upon the, or different type depending upon the type of bond or type of bond and the structural configuration of protein. So we have got primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, and quaternary structure. So the denaturation, the hydrogen bond is actually present in secondary structure as well as in tertiary structure. And when we talk about denaturation of protein, it is actually related to the it is actually related to the destruction of hydrogen bond. So the bond, destruction of hydrogen bond, the structure of hydrogen bond. And the denaturation of protein result in unfolding and disorganization of protein secondary and tertiary structure. That is hydrolysis of cleavage of destruction of hydrogen bond. So the correct option for MCQ 23 is C, destruction of hydrogen bond. And EM pathway 2-phosphoglycerate is converted into. Actually, EM pathway, yeah, EM pathway is also known as Embden-Meyerhof Permas pathway. That is another name for glycolysis. And when we talk about glycolysis, which 2-phosphoglycerate is converted to phosphoglycerine into bisphosphoglycerate is converted into phosphoenol pyruvate, which is in turn will be converted into enol pyruvate. So the conversion to bisphosphoglycerate into phosphoglycerate is converted into phosphoenol pyruvate occur in the presence of enolase along with magnesium as an ion. Or आपके पास the correct option for MCQ 24 is phosphoenol pyruvate A. अच्छा जी, increasing serum unconjugated bilirubin occur in. So first of all, hemolytic jaundice होता क्या है? Hemolytic jaundice is a condition, pre-hepatic jaundice is the type of jaundice arising from hemolysis or excessive destruction of red blood cells. And when we talk about obstructive jaundice is a condition in which there is a blockage of flow of bile out of the liver. And nephritis is inflammation of kidney and may involve glomerular nephritis tubules and intestinal tissues surrounding. And glomerular nephritis is actually the inflammation of glomerulus of our kidney. And so आपके पास in the liver bilirubin is conjugated with glucuronic acid, that is known as conjugated bilirubin, and when the bilirubin is not conjugated or combined with glucuronic acid, it will be known as unconjugated bilirubin. तो an increase in serum के अंदर जो unconjugated bilirubin है, it is increase in the condition that is known as hemolytic jaundice, that is A for MCQ number 25, hemolytic jaundice for MCQ number 25. In protein, the alpha helix and beta plated sheets are an example of secondary structure. And हम लोग अगर primary structure की बात करें तो primary structure is formed by the formation of polypeptide bond. And when we talk about secondary structure of protein, it is formed as a result of alpha helix and beta plated sheet. In alpha helix, we have predominant hydrogen bond, hydrogen bonds, and in beta plated sheet, there are also hydrogen bond present. So when we talk about tertiary structure, in the tertiary structure, the disulfide bond, hydrophobic interaction, hydrogen bond, and ionic interactions are the predominant interactions. And when we talk about quaternary structure have non-covalent interactions present in them. So the correct option for MCQ number 26 is B, secondary structure. Two important hydrolytic products of HMP shunt are, so hexose monophosphate pathway shunt is a pathway, cyclic pathway in which involves synthesis of pentoses, sugars, and some pentose sugars as well as NADPH. The sugar that is produced over here are used in different as a structural component of different as different structural component. And when we talk about NADPH, it is a reduction potential. It is used as a reduction potential. So HMP shunt is the process in which glucose is being converted into ribose sugars and NAD along with NADPH. So the correct option for MCQ number 27 is B, NADPH and pentose sugars. The poor source of vitamin D is milk. Milk is poor in vitamin D, and milk is very necessary for absorption of calcium. So there are certain fortified milk available in the market that contain vitamin D along with calcium. So the poor source of vitamin D is milk, C for MCQ 28. हाँ जी, अब वो क्या कहते हैं कि आपके पास जो ग्लाइकोजन है, it is being converted into glucose 1 phosphate by using as an enzyme known as phosphorylase. Also, in addition to that phosphorylase, another enzyme that is used. Phosphorylase is the enzyme that is used for the breaking of alpha 1,4 linkage. And debranching enzyme is involved in the breaking of alpha 1,6 linkage. It actually catalyzes the addition of phosphorylase, addition of phosphate group into the glycogen and then convert into glucose 1 phosphate. So correct option for MCQ number 29 is C, phosphorylase. अच्छा, आपके पास ये जो UDP transferase है, ठीक है, it is actually used in glycogenesis and the branching enzyme is also used in glycogenesis. So or आपके जो so the enzyme that left behind is phosphorylase, that is option C for MCQ 29. Each turn of alpha helix contain amino acid residues. And each turn of alpha helix, that is a secondary structure of protein, contain how many amino acid per turn? When you talk about amino acid, so each turn of an amino acid contains 3.6 amino acid per turn in alpha helix. That is option A for MCQ 30. And the function of vitamin A, retinol. So the function of vitamin A involves a lot of functions. That is, it is antioxidant in nature. It can आपकी क्या कर सकते हैं, it is responsible for formation of new cells, or it is responsible for cell growth, or it is also essential for cell differentiation in epithelial tissue and mucus secretion formation, and it is also responsible for protein synthesis regulation. So all of these are correct option for MCQ number 31D. The pH optimum for most of the enzyme is, हाँ जी, कहता है कि आपके पास which of the which optimum pH is the pH at which most of the enzyme work at its maximum rate. So for most of the enzyme, the pH that is optimum pH for most of the enzyme ranges between 5 to 9 pH. That is option B for MCQ 32. हाँ जी, deficiency of vitamin D. हाँ जी, कोलिकल्सिफेरोल जो है या कैल्सिफेरोल आपका जो है, इसकी अगर डेफिशिएंसी हो जाती है तो फिर क्या हो जाता है? As we discussed earlier that vitamin D is vitamin D is responsible for vitamin D is responsible for vitamin D is responsible for the absorption of calcium in bones. So when there is a deficiency of vitamin D, the calcium will not be absorbed in the bones, which result in different disease related to bones. Rickets is the disease that is softening or bending of bones usually occur in children. And osteomalacia is also the disease of bone in which bones become brittle. So both of these conditions result in the deficiency of vitamin D. That is, so the correct option for MCQ number 33 is A, rickets and osteomalacia. Riboflavin deficiency causes. हाँ जी, तो कहते हैं कि जी आपके पास जो राइबोफ्लेविन है उसकी डेफिशिएंसी जो है उससे क्या होता है, तो देयर इज अ कंडीशन नोन एज चिलोसिस, एंड चिलोसिस इज द कंडीशन वेयर corners of the mouth become inflamed, which can lead to cracking and pain of the corners of the mouth. The cracks can even split and bleed. So it results in the due to the deficiency of a vitamin that is known as riboflavin. Also, riboflavin. So the correct option for MCQ number 34 is A, chelosis. In non-competitive enzyme activity inhibition inhibitor. हाँ जी, अच्छा, non-competitor enzyme inhibitor क्या होता है? It is the inhibitor that are actually attached with the enzyme in place other than the active site. This is known as the in place other than active site. अच्छा, इसको हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? Because they do not compete with the substrate for the active site of the enzymes. That's why they are known as non-competitive inhibition. So in non-competitive enzyme inhibition, inhibitor does not affect Km. Reason being, आपको पता है what is Km? Km is a constant that is the Michaelis-Menten constant, that is a measure of kinetics of an enzyme reaction, and it is equivalent to the concentration of substrate at which the reaction take place at 1/2 of the maximum rate. So if it is not affecting the activity of substrate or hindering the activity of substrate, it is not going to affect Km. So the correct option for MCQ number 35 is C, does not affect Km, Michaelis-Menten constant. And this is a case study in which it is mentioned that there is a patient that is 35 years old, or he is experiencing substernal chest pain for 2 hours, और फिर उसको हॉस्पिटल लेकर जाया जाता है, and his history shows that his father died of myocardial infarction at age of 40 or 45, and जो आपके इसका जो ECG है वो जब की जाती है तो it is consistent with myocardial infarction. So what would be the possibility of reports for this patient? When we talk about myocardial infarction is actually related to LDL. If a patient has high concentration of low density lipid in his or her blood, he is more at risk of myocardial infarction or heart disease. While HDL stands for हेल्थ हाई डेंसिटी लिपिड, या फिर आपको कहते हैं हेल्दी लिपिड भी कह सकते हैं इसको ना. So it is the more is HDL, the lesser a patient will be more likely to have cardiac infarction or heart diseases. So the patient at that moment should have high concentration of LDL while low concentration of HDL present in the blood. So the correct option for MCQ number A is MCQ 36 is A. LDL high होगा उसका और HDL low होगा. हाँ जी. अच्छा, आपका लाइन व्यूअर वर्क प्लॉट है माइकलस मेंटन इक्वेशन का के एम एंड वी मैक्स कैन बी डिटरमाइंड व्हेन वी. अच्छा, जो लाइन व्यूअर वर्क प्लॉट है ना, हम कहते हैं कि इसको एक्स एक्सिस के ऊपर जब मैं बात करूं तो लाइन व्यूअर वर्क प्लॉट की एक्स एक्सिस के ऊपर हम लोग 1/s सबस्ट्रेट कंसंट्रेशन लेते हैं, while on v while on x एक्सिस y एक्सिस we got 1/b. ठीक है, जो वेलोसिटी है आपकी. तो अच्छा, वो क्या कहते हैं कि फॉर द फ्रॉम द लाइन व्यूअर वर्क प्लॉट माइकल में km and vmax can be determined when v is the reaction velocity at the substrate concentration s. x axis experimental are expressed as. तो x axis के ऊपर हम लोग 1/substrate concentration जो है वो मेजर करते हैं, जबकि velocity का जो इनवर्स है वो हम लोग लेते हैं y axis के ऊपर. So the correct option for MCQ number 37 is B, 1/s. हाँ जी. Flamin adenine dinucleotide is used in कौन से एज अ कोएंजाइम कौन से रिएक्शन के अंदर यूज होता है? Succinate dehydrogenase, the conversion of succinate into succinate dehydrogenase is an enzyme that is involved in the conversion of succinate acid into fumaric acid, involve the conversion of FAD to FADH2. Glycerol 3-phosphate dehydrogenase की बात करें तो it is an enzyme that is responsible for the रिवर्सिबल कन्वर्जन ऑफ DHAP टू जो आपका G3 पे होता है उसकी रिवर्सिबल कन्वर्जन. स्फिंगोसिन रिडक्टेज की बात करें, इट इज एन एंजाइम दैट इज रिस्पांसिबल फॉर स्फिंगोसिन मेटाबॉलिज्म के अंदर इन्वॉल्व होता है. So all of these actually uses an FAD as a coenzyme. So the correct option for MCQ number 38 is C, is D, all of the above. Serum alkaline phosphate level increases in. हाँ जी. अब आपके पास एक कहते हैं कि हमारे पास जो अल्कालाइन फॉस्फेट है या सीरम अल्कालाइन फॉस्फेट है, इसकी जो वैल्यूज होती हैं, इट इज अ क्लियर मार्कर ऑफ हाइपरपैराथायरॉयडिज्म. हाइपरपैराथायरॉयडिज्म इज द कंडीशन इन व्हिच द there is a more secretion of पैराथायरॉयड हार्मोन. ठीक है जी. और आपके पास जो है ना, ये जैसे ये पैराथायरॉयड हार्मोन मोर एक्सेसिवली रिलीज होगा तो आपकी जो सीरम अल्कलाइन फॉस्फेटेज है ये आपका इंक्रीज कर जाता है. और हाइपरपैराथायरॉयडिज्म जो है ना, क्योंकि बिकॉज आपको पता है कि ये बिकॉज सीरम अल्कलाइन फॉस्फेटेज वैल्यूज आर फेयर मार्कर ऑफ severity of secondary hyperthyroidism. In patients with renal failure, also osteoblast normally expresses large amount of bone isozyme of alkaline phosphate, and serum levels are usually elevated when osteoblastic activity and bone formation rates are increased. ठीक है. और पैराथायरॉयड ग्लैंड जो है आपका पैराथायरॉयड हार्मोन रिलीज करता है, एंड इट इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर टू मेंटेनिंग रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू लो ब्लड कैल्शियम. ठीक है. अगर आपका ब्लड का कैल्शियम लेवल कम है तो पैराथायरॉयड हार्मोन कैल्शियम लेवल पैराथायरॉयड ग्लैंड जो है पैराथायरॉयड हार्मोन रिलीज करेगा, एंड it is responsible for the conversion of for maintaining of blood calcium level. So all of these are so serum alkaline phosphate level is related to hyperparathyroidism because it is increased in the response of calcium in bones as well as in blood. So the correct option for MCQ number 39 is C, hyperparathyroidism. And average obese people have higher basal metabolic BMR ज्यादा होता है, ठीक है, देन लीन पीपल. तो वो कहते हैं कि आपके पास जो असल में मेनली बिकॉज ऑफ द बॉडी, हाँ जी, कौन सी बॉडी मास के ऊपर जिनका जो BMR है वो किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. So BMR is of obese people actually does not depend upon adipose tissue, does not depend upon glycogen and water. It actually depend upon the lean mass of a person, and lean mass is actually the mass of a person minus the fat weight of the fat weight of a person. ठीक है जी. So lean body mass is defined as total weight of human body minus the weight of the fats. So the correct option for MCQ 40 is lean mass. The physiological pH is 7.5. What will be the hydrogen ion concentration is physiological pH? अच्छा आपको कहता है फिजियोलॉजिकल पीएच 7.4 है, हाइड्रोजन आयन कंसंट्रेशन बताएं, इसका फॉर्मूला लगेगा नेगेटिव पीएच इज इक्वल टू नेगेटिव लॉग ऑफ हाइड्रोजन आयन कंसंट्रेशन, ठीक है जी, और नेगेटिव लॉग ऑफ हाइड्रोजन आयन कंसंट्रेशन इज वुड बी इक्वल टू 7 into 10 raised to power minus 28. That is C for MCQ number 41. हाँ जी, which of the following is responsible for is associated with calcium absorption for intestine? So vitamin D is actually responsible for polycalciferol is actually responsible for calcium absorption from intestine. Actually, there are a lot of similar that actually increase calcium absorption, including 1 to 5 dihydroxy polycalciferol also increases इनऑर्गेनिक फॉस्फेट एब्जॉर्प्शन भी इंक्रीज करता है और कैल्शियम एब्जॉर्प्शन भी इंक्रीज करता है. विटामिन डी that is the active transport of both calcium and inorganic phosphate from the intestine from the intestine to the from the intestine into the blood circulation. So the correct option for MCQ number 42 is B cholecalciferol. And the compound which is the lowest density is chylomicron because जितने भी lipoproteins हैं उसके अंदर सबसे ज़्यादा कम density जो होती है chylomicron के सबसे ज़्यादा density HDL की है. तो chylomicron has the lowest density because it has more tag content and less protein content. So the correct option for MCQ 43 is A chylomicron. हाँ जी कहते हैं कि नॉन स्टेरॉइडल एंटी इन्फ्लेमेटरी एनसेड है, ठीक है, और लाइक एस्पिरिन और एनसेड, ठीक है, एस्पिरिन इज एन एनसेड दे आर एक्चुअली एक्ट ऑन साइक्लोऑक्सीजनेज, आपका जो फॉस्फोलिपिड है, ठीक है, उसने आगे क्या करना है, उसने आगे आपके ल्यूकोट्राइन्स भी बनाने हैं और प्रोस्टाग्लैंडिन भी बनाने हैं और थ्रोम्बोक्सिन बनाने हैं. तो द पाथवे दैट इन्वॉल्व्स the formation of prostaglandin and thromboxane is actually cyclooxygenase pathway that is catalyzed by cyclooxygenase enzyme. So NSAID क्या करता है, जाके cyclooxygenase activity को block कर देता है. That is option B for MCQ number 44. Holoenzyme is a complete enzyme consists of functional unit, apoenzyme and coenzyme. ठीक है, apoenzyme is the protein content, ठीक है, और जो आपका coenzyme is the other is the non-protein part that is responsible for the proper functioning of an enzyme. ठीक है, तो functional unit सारी जो हैं वो holoenzyme is a complete enzyme consists of all the responsible functioning unit. So all of the above is the correct option for MCQ number 45.